difficult scenario for them. They have been playing well today. We'll see what happens later on today. But Lyra and Vox are going to be the lock-ins here. Vox obviously typically good into Lyra with the Poison Shiv build.
Yeah, that Poison Shiv, just being able to diminish the healing so massively, such an important facet. And this is the first time now that Mousesports have gotten the Vox in this series. And it has been heavily focused by SK to make sure they didn't get this comfort pick.
Look at that pick rate on Vox as well. That's across both leagues. But
Yeah.
48%. That's not including bans either. So Vox has just been such a high priority for basically all teams. And it's not like Vox is this like hyper carry that we see coming through. Samuel and Kestrel actually going to be interesting.
Fortress. So, okay, so Mousesports has done this draft before. And they actually picked the Rhyme. It was game 3 against Salty Potatoes, and they won that game. They had Vox Fortress here. So SK needs to be very careful what they pick because there's a lot of strong counter picks. With Samuel out the picture, Scarf looks really good right now, and I would definitely pick Scarf in this composition along with like a nice carry like Idris or something. Glaive's also open, so Mouseport needs to pick something that can counter the Scarf and cancel the ultimate and be able to, you know, either outrange the Scarf or dive the Scarf and blow him up. So I'm pretty sure that Scarf will be picked. If they don't pick Scarf, then SK, you know, is kind of not picking the right pick into the draft here. But they could try something different. We'll see.
What other options do they have available here? Because things like Sky are open. You know, it's also that CP range jungler. Is that something that they could look towards if they don't want to play the Scarf?
It's something they could definitely think about, but I just feel like Scarf would just make so much sense here that you're almost doing yourself a disservice if you don't go for it. They're going to go for something
okay.
very different.
Mousesport's going to pick Rhyme here because they've played this before. And they've last picked a Rhyme when Salty Potatoes picked a Grumpjaw, specifically this exact same composition, actually. So they've kind of played into Mousesports' draft a little bit. I don't know if they looked at Mousesports' history of draft. So I'm pretty sure the Rhyme's going to come out here because this is exactly the composition they played. And it's going to be a CP Idris with the Grumpjaw. So it's kind of even, but if Rhyme gets the initiation on the Grumpjaw and locks him down, Grumpjaw's dead with the Fortress, Mortal Wound, and stuff like that. It's going to be huge. And this is why, guys, you do your research.
Look at the statistics. Look at the statistics for Rhyme right now. 100% win rate, 9.75 KDA. Yes, it's not picked often, but every time it is, as you say, Suijay, it's this counter pick.
It's a huge counter pick, exactly. And plus, Idris is a melee, so if Rhyme gets on him too and gets rooted, Fortress with the speed boost, Vox can jump on the Idris, and they will probably engage when Idris misses a Chakram. That's your chance to engage on the Idris. You don't want to engage when the Chakram's up. And then take advantage of that. So we'll see how this plays out.
So explain to me the logic behind picking up this Grumpjaw pick. Because obviously we were big advocates for the Scarf there. Why is it that they go for the Grumpjaw?
They wanted to win the early game, and maybe they're trying to bait out the Rhyme. Maybe if they're going to go with the CP Idris, suddenly it's not the double melee anymore, and Rhyme's effectiveness drops significantly. And if you can go aggressive with the Grumpjaw early on into that Rhyme, you can find a lot of damage before he's able to build up a lot of fortified health. I think that's going to be their target here. Try and just use those chakrams to poke and harass. Grumpjaw goes in and just drops the Rhyme down to below half health before the fortified health even comes out. That's the only way that I see them being able to win this game, though.
All right, so they need to be able to bully that Rhyme before they can actually get into that clustered up team fight and he can melt down their health bars and use that fortified health to his own expertise. It's just about time we jump on into this one. This is an incredibly important game here for these two European squads. SK Gaming going up against Mousesports. Get online on Twitter. Let us know who you are supporting using that hashtag Vainglory8. Let us know. Tag the teams as well. Make sure that they know that they've got your support. It's time to jump into this one. SK looking for first seed. Mouse hoping against hope for a shot at the second seed. Let's get into the third game of this semi-final.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have loaded into the Halcyon Fold. The battle has begun to nominate SK Gaming versus Mousesports. Game 3 here, and we actually have some very fun picks.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see the Fortress and the Rhyme combination here. Specifically, I think that forces Kvalifar into a Crystal Idris, which can have some varying success into the Vox. Obviously, if Vox is allowed to make a hard engage and dances around the Chakram, then Vox should win out that trade pretty evenly. Tyra's, though, on this Grumpjaw. Rhyme can have a lot of success into Grumpjaw, specifically because obviously the Frost Guard coming out of I'm the Doom will be able to give him some additional sustain, as well as being a melee hero. Tyros is very susceptible to those Winter Spires, and this is really going to come down to a lane trade here for me. I mean, Fortress obviously not the tankiest of captains. He's a very aggressive captain. As well as Raph, maybe not the tankiest of captains, but it's going to be about trading damage here. Tyros, once he gets into his monocles, obviously we'll likely see the Tension Bow double monocle build come out of Tyros. That's really where he's going to start to be able to take over a fight against I'm the Doom. So this is going to be about Kvalifar and Apfel making it into the late game and having the ability to out-trade one another.
Well, Apfel's going to have a tough time in this lane now that Raph has made his way up here. The Lyra looking to do some harass damage onto Apfel. And once again, if Kvalifar takes any damage, they have that sigil just to heal him right back up. I'm curious, though. I mean, can I'm the Doom even stand his ground, though? Like, if you have late-game damage, or, like, mid-game power spike damage out of the Grumpjaw, Kvalifar hits his power spikes as well. Like, that's a huge amount of damage. Tyrus over the wall with the Grumpy, and I am the Doom takes the fronts. Very nice job there. Raph moving in with the Truth of the Tooth, but it looks like Mouse, they don't really want to get baited into the lane just yet.
No, definitely don't want to get baited into the lane, specifically because we had no vision onto Tyra's either, so that could have been a spell for disaster there. I'm the Doom going to go ahead and clean up the Treant there. Not
Dragon Blood
quite enough
contract
speed
applied.
to catch up. Dragon Blood contract applied, no ability to follow up on it, unfortunately. Kvalifar is committing himself into the Crystal Idris, having 2 of the crystal bits. Actually, something I don't want to go unnoticed there is a good call out from Raph, mentioning to Kvalifar that Justman was rotating up. We've seen Kvalifar back off as to not put himself in danger.
Nice call right there. Map awareness, name of the game. Mouse, just look to farm at this point. And you're going to see, once really Doom gets a couple levels, Apfel able to get maybe his first, second item, that's really where this Fortress is going to be able to turn up the heat against SK over here. Kvalifar, though, this guy, he just wants to unlock his divergent paths. He wants to get his first, second item up and just got to stay at range.
Yeah, definitely the range for Kvalifar as he gets that divergent path is what's going to give him an edge in the fight. Obviously, right now, being a... yeah, there they... now, missing out on that call out on the rotation, not having quite enough vision. Right now, SK is very vulnerable to a lot of splash damage coming out of I'm the Doom. Obviously, those Winter Spires will be able to hit both. Oh, but we got an engage coming out here.
Tyrus, the burst damage is real. He takes him down. Doesn't even have his tension bow yet. That's your first blood coming through for SK, and that's that burst damage stacking up real quick.
Yeah, and again, those chakrams as this Crystal Idris will do quite a substantial amount of damage. It'll give him a bit of kiting opportunity against I'm the Doom and Justman, and that's really where I'm the Doom is going to struggle here, is he needs to be able to get to Kvalifar to get damage down on him. Obviously, the Idris will be playing on the edge of the range that he can, as well as having that Shroud Step available and Shimmer Strike available for him to potentially, really get out of the way of a lot of the damage. Apfel, though, on this Vox, as we get into that Broken Myth, he's going to have a lot of scaling potential if Tyraz isn't able to snowball the mid-game as hard as a Grumpjaw needs to.
A whole bunch of damage coming out onto Kvalifar. It's going to force him back to the healing platform. Maybe he'll pick himself up some items. Frostburn looks like it's going to be the first item for the CP Idris. Do you like this pickup?
I do and I don't. So I like the Frostburn because it is going to make it more difficult. We discussed I'm the Doom has to be able to get to Kvalifar to get the damage down, specifically to try to get a root down and keep Idris from using his mobility to his advantage. I don't like it first item, though, because it does not have enough crystal power to unlock that divergent path here in 2.6 that was lowered in 2.7 to 100. So Kvalifar actually, committing into his first tier 3 item does not have the damage or the range that he would have had if he would have saved up and went into that Shatter Glass.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, he could pick up, I don't know, some keyword.
Yeah, he'll come down here and he'll have it shortly. Yeah, he'll definitely pick something up here that will get the Divergent Path online now. So not too much of a loss for him, but he may miss out on a couple of the minions here in the lane, setting him back just a little bit further. It is only going to be one, so not falling too far behind and getting that Divergent Path online again, just absolutely huge for them. Apfel again, though, taking an advantage here on the CS here in the early game. It's going to help get Vox to a point that he's really going to be able to take over Wrath. Obviously, this Poison Shiv online. Hold on here.
Doom's getting lit up. The fountain is forced out. Doom, that Valkyrie just didn't even seem to really do anything to SK. SK still holding their own fountain. They have the healing potential out of the Lyra, plus their item. What can't they do? As Justman moves in, I mean, maybe they're actually getting baited in right now. If you look in the jungle, Tyrus is taking the mid away from I'm the Doom, so it's going to be great healing for him. This does leave him 2-on-1 in the jungle. Tyrus, he'll use his boots to get himself out of that situation. Justman, I'm the Doom, thought that they had caught themselves a Grumpjaw.
They thought, didn't quite make it, and the real game changer here is there's a lot of mortal wound potential on the side of Mouse. We obviously have the Poison Shiv on Apfel, but Fortress has the mortal wound built into his kit. And not only that, the attack of the pack is going to really be able to spread that onto multiple targets, and that's going to prevent a lot of healing potential that the Lyra brings to the table. So limiting what Raph is allowed to do going into this mid to late game is going to be absolutely huge. Obviously, level 6 on Fortress, we have that attack of the pack available. Raph not quite yet at the Arcane Passage, but getting very, very close. And Kvalifar now having that heavy prism, getting a little bit more crystal damage to his name, will increase his basic attacks and the damage those chakras provide. And I'm the Doom getting blown up.
Big burst damage. Justman, he's going to be stuffed up. Now Doom tries to stand his ground with Apfel. They're moving back. Justman's in a bad place. They throw the fountain now. Now the chase is on. The wolves are out. The attack of the pack indeed. Kvalifar's running. Raph is melted. And it appears that Idris will be the only one to get out of this fight, as Mouse are engaged on and reverse it.
The stuffed in that particular fight was not really used to the best of its ability, so it did swallow up Justman, but they didn't do anything with it to take advantage of the fight. I'm the Doom was forced very low. They ran away with Justman and then didn't even focus their damage on Justman when he dropped out of that stuffed. So I think that's a little bit of a misplay from SK there that really lost them that fight. Again, I'm the Doom was dropped dangerously low very quickly on in that fight. Arcane Passage was available, and they didn't make a hard engage, and that's really where Apfel was allowed to turn around that fight.
Tyrus starting to have a little bit of crit damage. The minion's foot coming through for him big there. There's actually scout traps down. I'm not sure that SK know this as they just start to apply very small just chip damage onto the turret, but it appears to be quite successful as they're allowed to just sit there and bring that damage home to Mouse. They want to defend very clearly. They have pretty much all, yeah, they have all their abilities, not all of their items and not boots for I'm the Doom, but they have like everything they need should they choose to take this fight. Tyrus, I have respectable damage, but they're going to back off.
They're going to back off. Kvalifar is going to take this opportunity to return and get the alternating current. Had 1,800 gold in his pocket to do so. Tyra's really needs to get a monocle online here if he wants to be effective, and they need to take advantage of the fact that Vox at this point in the game is very squishy. He doesn't have any armor built for Tyra's. Tyra's will obviously have that tension bow proc available to him, but I'm the Doom was going to build up the fortified health and has a little bit of armor and shield to his name. So they definitely need to find a Vox in this fight, and then at that point, I'm the Doom is not going to be able to win out a 2v3. Specifically against the range and damage poke that Kvalifar has.
Kvalifar continuously throwing out the chakrams. The attacks now from range stacking up. The damage is respectable. Winter Spires coming out from Doom as he looks to build up a little fortified health. Plus, he has the regeneration as well from that Eve. What can SK do if they don't find the engage and Mouse actually stand their ground here? This could turn out bad for SK, just like that last fight. If they focus their fire, they can burst somebody down, but a little miscommunication, stuffing up the wrong target, it could really go against SK, and it just feels like it's easier to make mistakes on their side.
It definitely is, especially with Fortress really being that front line. It's gonna give a lot of protection over to Apfel and I'm the Doom. Again, if you are gonna stuff somebody, specifically if you do get Justman in that stuffed, you have good turret take by Cavalifar there, going in with that Chakram.
Yeah, that was super clean. It was inevitable, and I was wondering, is Mouse gonna pull the trigger? Are they gonna let this just happen? And I guess they didn't feel comfortable enough to actually defend the turret.
Yeah, and again, if Tyra's, I was touching on this, if Tyra's is going to swallow up Justman, they have to make a hard engagement to follow it up. Raph does now have the War Treads online that's going to give him some bonus healing, as well as that extra engage potential, and Tyra's now spending some of that 2,500 gold that was in his pocket. Has now a Tyrant's Monocle completed and a little additional crit. So this is where Grumpjaw can really start to take off in a fight and be incredibly aggressive. And that's kind of the win condition here for SK. We have almost a third item completed for Cavalifar working into that Broken Myth. But Tyra's is really in a position now that I'm the Doom's fortified health is not going to give him as much sustain against the critical damage that Tyra's has. And obviously the Hangry, the B of Grumpjaw, giving him some natural attack speed is what allows Tyra's to go with just 3 raw damage items and not have to worry about attack speed. By the time
SK realized
Hangry runs out,
taken.
Oh yes they do, and they're rotating down. Will
They're
Cavalifar
moving
get
in hard. The Arcane Passage forward, but it's Mouse who grab it. Are they in trouble though? They start to lock on. It's Raph who goes down. They take the captain first. Now Tyrus, this Grumpjaw supposedly tanky. He's going down. Justman falls to Cavalifar. Cavalifar retreating. Apfel should have this kill. Apfel, you got this kill, right? Chakram coming through. Let's check back down into the jungle's Tyrus. He is stuffed up, buying a bit of time, but Crystal Sentry cleans him up. Doom will be spat out in the ace for Mouse.
And actually that looked like the kill went over to Justman on Fortress, so maybe not the target you really wanted to get it on. I'm the Doom does not have that much damage. He just has an Eve of Harvest and a Piercing Shard, so definitely your biggest threat is Apfel, especially with this turret going down. He now has the gold to rotate down and pick up that breaking point, so taking him out early on in the fight is going to be absolutely huge for SK if they want to win this game. Again, taking game number 2 has put them tied with Fnatic. So, you know, if SK drops here, it's going to be a 3rd place matchup to determine who the #1 seed is going into the Unified Championships.
I love the setups with these games this weekend. It's been amazing. One thing, though, Denominate, I wanted to mention, Doom took the Crystal Sentry while the push was happening after that last fight. So that's something you had called out previously. Winter Spires, they're going to root up Grumpjaw. Is the wait for it going to connect? He's able to get forward with that Grumpy. Now they're on to Cavalifar. They have the move speed. They have the damage. They have breaking point stacks. Justman dropping low, but he stays alive just on the edge. Calculations upon calculations from the mice.
And this game is starting to look really good for Mouse. Again, getting Vox online is really their most serious win condition. I'm the Doom is almost realistically a second captain for Apfel. His goal is going to be, okay, when Tyra's comes in, I need to get some damage down onto him so that I can get the root down, and that's what's going to help protect Apfel. And this is the teamwork I'm saying here. Apfel knows that he needs to rely on I'm the Doom to protect him from Grumpjaw. He's actually now worked into a Fountain of Renewal on Vox, really trying to limit what Cavalifar can do, because that's the biggest damage threat coming out of SK. And this is going to provide a huge amount of additional sustain for the side of Mouse. It's been a long time since I've seen a Vox build a fountain.
Yeah.
I think it might have been Gabe Vizel's Captain Vox way back in the day when he
Hey, Captain Vox doesn't count, all right?
It doesn't, but again, the big damage threat here is Cavalifar. I'm the Doom should be able to slow up Grumpjaw.
See how this double
huge
fountain
fight
plays out.
breaking
The
up.
fight is on right here. A Shimmer Strike to reposition from Cavalifar, but Mouse are on the chase. The attack of the pack is out. They are locked on, and they take this CP Idris down. This is just Tyrus trying to reposition. Raph had to take his Arcane Passage right back the other way. Now Raph feeling quite threatened, I would imagine, as it feels like Mouse is just a matter of time before they pick up this ace for themselves here. The double fountain makes so much sense to me because of the breaking point on the Vox. And on the flip side, all of the burst potential in the world coming out of SK's lineup. So they just survive through the burst, and then they win the fight.
Yeah, Tyra's making his way into that second monocle, but this is a Kraken getting started up off the end of a staggered ace from Mouse. Raph did do a good job wasting time, but as this Kraken comes over, and again, Vox online having this fountain, there's almost no damage threat onto Apvel coming out of Cavalifar, and that's what's absolutely huge for Mouse. Again, I'm the Doom doing a great job keeping Tyras off of Apvel. If Mouse finds one more fight, they could secure their spot in the finals for this week. Now, they aren't close enough in points to change their seeding, but they are making it more difficult for SK to pass Fnatic at this point. So trying to adjust the seeding to their liking going into the championships will be absolutely huge for them.
Adjusting the seating to their liking. Now that's some OP-ness right there. Oh my goodness. Okay, we'll move right past Kraken on the choke point turret right now, Mouse. You gotta play this one out carefully. Flares coming out here. SK, they're gonna make the move. Tyrus, what? He's not even getting in there for the damage. The wait for it has canceled out the aggression from SK. The defense is falling apart. They're melting. Now the stuff coming out at the end, but they kill him. His ally pops right out. I'm the Doom sustaining, plus has the damage, and all the meanwhile, Apfel just stacking breaking point, dancing, zooming around through the fight, and it looks like Mouse will be closing out against SK here in game number 3. What a showing.
Mouse really bringing their A game to the table today, is able to take down SK, who is that tied for number 1 right now at 30 points. So really showing that Mouse can hang with the best. Humanist, what exciting gameplay out of Europe today. Again, the important game is going to be that third place matchup between SK and Fnatic. So moving on to our finals now.
I haven't seen Mouse play like that since week 1 of this whole season. What a great job for Mousesports. Congratulations. With that